Alright, welcome. This is the first installment of hopefully many on building my model railroad. As you can see, it's probably evident from the fact that you can see in the background here I'm actually building this in a garage. I have the table pretty well finished. Track is mostly laid down, and I've got some of the basic scenery started here in the background. I built it with just regular 2x4 construction. I've got some 4x4 posts which I've installed here, and I've got some casters on the bottom so I can move the table around and still get the cars in the garage. So anyway, what I'm trying to do is replicate a plan which I found in the Model Railroader edition from, I believe it was August of 2008, and it is a there was an article in there on how to make 3 model railroads, 3 different layouts from one sheet of plywood. This is the version that is actually 6 feet by 7 feet, and you might wonder how in the world you get a 6 by 7 foot model railroad out of a 4 by 8 sheet of plywood. There's some interesting cutting tactics that you have to take to get this done, so I will show you that plan later on. But right now, just talk a little bit about the railroad itself. Again, it's based on that plan from Model Railroader. It's built with 2x4 construction with some stringers, which you can see there in the center, about every couple of feet. It's as we're looking at it here, it is 6 feet wide and then 7 feet long from here down to where the tunnel portals are at the far end of the table. So just a little bit of experimentation going on here with some scenery. The plan is to put a backdrop behind this side of the table and eventually paint that to look like sky. I will cover the entire surface here with plaster cloth. I haven't done that yet, obviously. As you can see, the blue foam is still sitting out here. A little bit about what the plans are. Over here on this side of the table, you can see obviously there are some side tracks. I've got a few sidings in here already. There are a couple of short sidings in the center. And as far as how the layout is going to operate, I'm just going to build this regular DC right now. This is kind of model railroading on a budget. So anyway, that's the plan, to start out with regular DC. What I'm trying to do today is get all of the turnouts wired, and then I'm going to run some track wiring as well. I don't know if it's evident from the pictures here, but let's see if I can hold this up in the air, you can get a better view. There are 2 independent loops of track, just 2 ovals, very basic. At the far end, down here right in front of the tunnel portals, there's a crossover. So if I need to move trains from one track to the other, I can do it here. In the inside of the inside oval, there is a siding which comes around here, crosses the bridge here. The plan is to put some type of a water feature in there. Haven't really finished the design on that yet. And then have a couple of other sidings back in here. This area where you see the OSB sheet, that's going to be a town. I've purchased the City and Industry building kit from Woodland Scenics, so I've got those houses and storefronts and everything to put in there. I believe I'm going to kind of configure that in a U-shaped layout, so maybe the back of the U will be up against the mountain there. Haven't really decided on that yet, but that's kind of the thought. I do have some grain elevators which I'm going to try and put on the edge here so that we can put some covered hopper cars. Okay, so sorry about the abrupt end to that first part of the video there. I forgot to check the memory card before I started here, and it filled up on me. So anyway, as I was saying, kind of describe the layout there. That's the plan, is to have all of that set up and running. As far as the construction, 2x4s on with the 1/2-inch sheet of plywood underneath, and then 2 1-inch pieces of blue foam board on there. So today, what I'm going to do, as I said, is try and get the turnouts wired, get all of the track wired and ready to go. Standard DC, so nothing really adventures there as far as how it's going to work. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, and I will break back in here and show you the progress. I'm not going to bore you with the tedium of watching me strip wires and attach them to the turnout motors with the screwdriver. You know, not a whole lot of fun in that. So anyway, I'm going to cut it away here and go ahead and get a couple of these wired, and we'll come back and take a look. Okay, well, that was fun. You can see here, I hope you can see that, they've got the turnout switches wired here. All the switch machines are now wired. Got the red, green, and black contacts there wired to the switches. One thing that I found out as I started here was that I didn't have all the switch machines screwed down to the track, and that was a fun exercise there, trying to get those machines screwed down, bolted down to the track there without tearing them loose. So anyway, got that done, got the wiring done, all 9 of the turnouts. I guess if I had that to do over again, I wouldn't put so many on there. But anyway, so we've got 9 turnouts wired. Let me pause here for just a second. I'm going to run in and get the track plan and show that to you. Alright, so here's the track plan. I don't know if you can see this very well, but as I said, this was from the August 2008 edition of Model Railroader, called 3 track plans from 1 4x8 sheet of plywood. You can see the cutting diagram there, which is a 4x8 sheet of plywood laid out in a grid, and the black lines are the cuts that have to be made. So if you make the cuts along those lines and then flip the right hand piece over and attach it to the left hand piece end to end there, you get this shape. So as you can see here, what I've decided to do is fill in that center section, which on the track plan is just a big empty spot. Decided to fill that in to place my town on that. I've got some more oriented strand board over in the corner of the garage that I'm going to use to fill in the rest of this, and as I said, build the water feature down there by the bridge. So anyway, got the wiring done for the turnouts. I'm going to start now running the feeder wires for the track, and I will show you how that's done. What I'm going to do is run some heavier gauge wire. I've got some speaker wire here that I found in my daughter's garage as she was getting rid of stuff to have a garage sale. So I kind of got that from her, and there's some old, I think, appliance cord in here. So between all these pieces of wire, I should hopefully have enough to get all of this done. And you know, I said in the beginning here that this was going to be model railroading on a budget. I'm trying to keep the cost down. As you know, you can. It's kind of like buying a car. You can buy a cheap car that'll get you from here to there, or you can buy a really expensive car that'll still get you from here to there. And my desire is just to be able to put the trains up and run them around. I've got a 3-year-old grandson who enjoys this. And I've got another grandson on the way. He's actually due in October, so I will have 2 grandsons to share this with, and hopefully when they get a little bit older, they can join in as well. Maybe then we'll do some expansion. So anyway, that's the plan. There's the layout, and ready to run some feeder wires. So I will do that. Actually, wiring all these switches took about 45 minutes, so I'm sure you're happy that I didn't show you that. Stripping wires and attaching them to the switch machines is not just really exciting stuff. So anyway, I will be back after I get the feeder wires in, and what I'm going to do is run probably feeder wires from the front here, which is where I plan to put the transformers. Run them from the front to the back, and then left to right, and I'm going to use suitcase connectors to do that. So instead of having to solder, obviously when I attach the feeder wires to the track, I'm going to be soldering those. So I'm going to have to drill some access holes to get my wires up to the track, and I will go ahead and show you the soldering process for those of you who would like to see that. For those of you who wouldn't, just go ahead and fast forward to the next part. So I'm going to go ahead and drill some holes, and I'll feed the wires up through the table, and then we'll go ahead and solder those. So I'm going to do that next. So I will be back shortly. Okay, just wanted to show you a little bit of the soldering process here. Don't know if you can see that, but right on the side of the rail here, I've got the first solder connection. It's right here. What I've done is I've taken a piece of just bare wire here, and let me see if I can get that maybe with this as a background. You can see it, and I've bent it into an L shape. It goes up through the table, and this little L shape here lays along the outside of the rail, and I just solder the length of that against the outside of the rail and then pass it down through the table. And then obviously underneath you got to keep those pieces of wire separate, but I will join them to the feeder wires under the table. That way it's a little bit easier than trying to solder stranded wire using the solid. So anyway, I'll go ahead and get this next one in here and then maybe get a shot of that so you can see it. Okay, just real quickly here before I start soldering, just wanted to show you a trick that, never being one for subtlety, I've got a small pair of vice grips holding that wire against the side of the rail there. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit on that so that you might be able to see it there. A little bit hard, I'm going to zoom back out, but anyway, that's the plan. Alright, just wanted to give you a shot here of one of those joints as it's soldered. I'll kind of zoom in and get a close-up of that. You can see that the vice grips have the wire tied up against the rail, and I've soldered that joint on there. So I will clean that up a little bit, and once we get all of these soldered, I will go ahead and test them individually just to make sure that the train runs, so that I know that I've got all contacts everywhere. So anyway, there's a close-up look at the solder joint, and we'll continue soldering. Okay, so just wanted to give you a view of the underside of the table. You can see all the feeder wires and the wires for the turnouts hanging down here. They're across on the other side. You can see those hanging down as well. Maybe not so well, but there they are, hanging down through. And I'm thinking about maybe just modeling a ravine down through here at the end. Of course, I won't leave it squared off. I'll make some changes there. But just want to finish up this first installment. All of the tracks are laid on foam road bed. It's mostly flex track. There are some sectional pieces in there. All of the joints have been soldered, as you can see there. So I soldered each one of these joints. On the side tracks, turnouts, I've got those right now isolated. One rail is isolated from the rest. My original thought was, since this is just going to be DC, is that I would install a single pole, single throw switch on the other rail just to cut the power. That way I could leave engines parked on the sidings without fear of them starting up and causing havoc. So anyway, that's the plan for now. I may change my mind there. If I do decide to go DC, I'll obviously have to change that theory and solder those joints in. One thing I did make a mistake on is this crossover track here. You can probably see that I've got one rail isolated there with a plastic rail joint and the other one's solid. I'm going to have to isolate that completely. Wasn't thinking about the fact that that one rail is going to be powered on both sides, and that would definitely cause a short. So anyway, hopefully the plan now that I've got the wiring done is to come back and go through and cover all of this with plaster cloth. I will add a few more hills and some terrain in here. Not going to leave it just flat. So I do have some buildings that I'm going to put in here, some factories. So anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. Maybe a week or so before I get back, but the next step will be adding some terrain and plaster cloth. Take care.